G'day, I want to talk about hunting at night. I prefer to hunt during the day. I've preferred to use open sights, but I've realised that telescopic sights offer big advantages, and that's what I've started off using for hunting at night. For a start, I would illuminate the target area with a handheld spotlight, maybe with a big car battery in my backpack, but that wasn't a lot of fun. When LED lights became available, powerful ones like this, I was very quick to adopt it. Clamp it onto the scope with a clamp like that. That's good. Sometimes you'll get light reflecting off the back of your suppressor or off your barrel, and so I put a shield, a makeshift shield, under the light just to keep the light from shining directly onto the suppressor and creating glare. This one's a red spotlight, and I have found, well, I do believe that red light may disturb things a little less, and I think it's certainly less noticeable to people going past. You're less likely to sort of upset them by, shining lights around the paddocks and things. I always hunt legally and safely, but I don't like to upset people, and not everybody eats meat, not everybody wants to see possums shot, so I keep things fairly quiet, and I try to be a good hunter and a good ambassador. One of the biggest game changer for me for night hunting was buying a thermal monocular, a spotting. And I thought on one particular farm where I'd been asked to look for pests, I thought, well, maybe there's half a dozen hares on a small farm. But I got a thermal spotter, and I found there were many more animals than I had ever suspected after night fell. And I think I've got about 65 hares off that very small lifestyle block now, and a number of possums and rabbits. So it's a game changer. In addition to that, I bought a night vision scope. Now, a night vision scope isn't a thermal scope. It is like a conventional, I guess, a video camera that sends out an infrared beam, or it illuminates the scene with an infrared beam, which you can get in different options. You can get them in one wavelength is longer than another. One is meant to be less visible to animals than the other, but the one that is more visible, I think, creates a better image. And frankly, I haven't really noticed a difference. Generally, animals do not get spooked by it. I suspect in one case I saw an animal being spooked by it when I switched the illuminator on. It's just a matter of how hard they've been hunted, I guess. But it's very good, and I've used a scope like this to shoot at over 100 metres, and it can, on a good night, it can illuminate a long way away. It's surprising. There's different levels of light you can use. This one has its own separate battery. I've got white tape on the cap, not because it's broken, but so if I drop it on the car seat or on the ground, I've got a better chance of seeing it. Eventually, though, I did graduate beyond that. I guess retired guys like me might like to buy a sports car, go on a cruise, get themselves a hot new chick, things like that. However, I would rather experience some nice gear, so I got myself a Sytong thermal scope. This is just a simple, sleek model, no rangefinder. I really like it. I don't know much about it yet, but it's really good. One disadvantage of the night vision scope is that if you're looking at an animal with a little bit of scrub in front of it, there can be so much light reflected off the leaves of the scrub that it's very hard to see the animal in the shadows, very hard to get a clear definition on it. Whereas a thermal sight doesn't send out light, there's nothing, it can't reflect, and it will just show you the heat outline of the animal, or sometimes a very clear picture of the animal. I'll include some video towards the end of this showing what it looks like typically. I think you've got to be very careful when you're shooting with night vision gear. Night vision may give you a slightly better picture of what you're shooting at, so you can make sure it's not somebody's pet cat, or even sometimes you can be fooled. You can see a heat signature through your thermal spotter or through your scope, which looks like a possum in a tree. But when you know the area, it's actually somebody's water tank on a hill behind the tree. So you've just, mostly you can see that it's an animal and it's moving and things like that, but you really do have to have your wits about you. And I think that a scope, an ordinary optical scope, is possibly the safest of the lot with good illumination, because you can get a good look. But if you know the area and you're experienced, there's no reason why any of these thermal or infrared devices should be unsafe. Now there's one little thing I just wanted to share. In fact, this is what prompted the video, and that is that you can record images and videos on a scope like this. And but you need to, if you want to share them, then you've got to get them onto your computer or into your system somehow. There's an app that you get on your phone or your iPad, and you get your app talking to this device through Wi-Fi, and the images can download to it. And that's all well and good, but what wasn't clear in the instructions was that you have to switch off another option inside the scope to enable Wi-Fi to be enabled. And that is the TV option. There's TV can be on or off, and I assume that TV option is there so that you can just put a cable in and play whatever you've got recorded on your TV. Don't know, haven't tried it. I'm a bit ignorant. I'm a bit of a new boy at this, but so that's it. So you've just got to make sure you turn off the TV option. Anyway, that's about all I've got to say for now. I will try and show some images after this just to give a better idea of what things look like, but all the best. Please forgive the poor image here. Very hard to take a photo down inside the thermal. You can see the menu. Third item down is TV. Fourth item down is Wi-Fi. And here I'm trying to show that you can just, there's the Wi-Fi, and there's the TV option. I'm showing that you can turn it off. That's what you've got to do. Here's some images taken with the Sytong night vision scope. Possum and a hare. If you put a magnification or zoom these scopes in, it does sort of, you do lose some resolution, but I think the pictures are pretty clear. And here is the Sytong PM-03 thermal scope, showing the different viewing options you can have. Here's a couple of possums in a tree at night. To sight in a night vision scope, an infrared illuminated scope, you can shoot at any sort of target in the daytime. You can see what you're shooting at. However, through a thermal scope, you've got to have something with a heat difference. So I taped foil, cooking foil, onto a brown paper background. The target was a bit fuzzy, but as you can see, I had no trouble holding steadily on a bench rest to get two bullets through, touching one another at 100 meters. So I'm very pleased with what can be done with the Sytong.